So this is day 15 of our Viking European Sojourn trip, and today we are in Vienna, Austria. So we started on the outskirts of the city. We left our boat, took a bus ride into the city, and from there we had a tour guide, and we were supposed to do a panoramic city tour, which means you're on a bus and your guide will discuss the city and surrounding areas. So on the way into the old part of the city, the historical part, we passed a church called the Mexico Church or Mexico Square. And the reason it's called that is that in 1938, when the Germans invaded Austria and took over this portion of the country, Mexico was the only country that actually protested. So they remember that with reverence, and they named the area Mexico Square. So on the panoramic bus tour, we went through a whole bunch of the historic sites, including the Hofburg Palace, City Hall, and so forth. And our tour guide discussed all the history of that. And then they let us off near the Hofburg Palace, and that was the first thing that we toured. Along the way to the Hofburg Palace, we stopped at a number of different monuments, but the first one of interest was this incredible fountain here. This is the Danube fountain. The one thing I loved about this city, even though it's raining, is no matter where you look, there was always something interesting to see. Lots of churches, lots of statues, lots of fountains, and the architecture, there was always something worthwhile to take note of. Just lots of intricate details, and then lots of touristy things to do, like take carriage rides if that is of interest to you. So this is Joseph Square in Vienna.
So Joseph Square, you think of no, another member of the Hofburg family.
So Joseph was the oldest son of the 16 children of Maria Theresa, the Queen of Austria, I guess, in Vienna. So in and around the Hofburg Palace, you can see they have these beautifully large entranceways to allow these horse-drawn carriages to go through them. And obviously they're now allowing cars on the road here. So that just shows you how large this place is. So this is a square in the Imperial Palace, one of the larger ones.
5, 6, I'm just checking. 2 of you are over there, right? Stay there, please. Stay in shelter. If anybody wants to join them over there, around the corner. In one of these, they're shouting for me, so you can also wait there. I'll just let you once everybody is back down.
These beautiful statues surrounded many of the different gates. They were just incredible, really nice to see. We're still in the Imperial Palace. This is an entrance courtyard. So a lot of people, a lot of traffic, especially since it's raining today. Everybody is trying to get in and out of the wind and out of the rain. Absolutely beautiful entrance, though. This is Michael's Gate into the Imperial Palace. Michael's Circle, and the church here is St. Michael's. This is the stables for the Louis Vuitton and Chanel stallions, and there is one sticking his head out having a look at us. Apparently these horses are born black or gray, but then they turn white as they get older. They say they turn moldy. So this is the stable section, and then they take them across the road for their performances. Riding school. So we're not walking down a pedestrian street where we hope to find the coffee house.
Coffee. But everyone just voted up like that play monument. You see that was
This is the Trinity Monument, but also known as the Black Death Monument. So it's to commemorate all those who lost their lives due to the plague. So the king or Emperor Leopold said, if the plague stops, he'll have a monument, a Trinity monument built, and here it is. So this is in the walking street in Vienna.
And the most interesting part is down there at the bottom at our eye level.
So this is St. Stephen's Cathedral, built in the 12th century, expanded several times as well.
This is yes, but it's very modern.
Ada Coffee House, very famous but fairly modern and very touristic. So street food in Austria, of course, wieners and pretzels. And across here, you've got some pastries and gelato. and meringue. This is the Providence Fountain in Vienna. The center figure is Providence, and the other figures represent the rivers found in Austria. This is an interesting fountain right here, or statue around it. So here's a more close-up view of the Providence Fountain, and as I said, there's 4 figures here representing the 4 major rivers in Austria. I didn't catch their names, but I know the one at least is the Danube. This is the burial place of the Habsburg family. Most of their bodies were buried here. When I say most, they removed the hearts and things like that, and they were put into the church, and the rest of the body was put here. We're in a little bakery in Vienna with the most incredible fresh bread. All made freshly. So when in Vienna, you have to try out one of their major claims to fame, which is the Viennese coffee, and that's what we're going to do next. And this restaurant here, Sluka, is one of the ones that are mentioned where you need to go if you want some real Venice coffee. Coffee place called the Sluka Coffee House. Getting our long black coffee for me and looking at all the cakes that they have. Looks wonderful. So this coffee house is from the 1800s, and it's very famous, apparently, and it's very well decorated.
Oh, smart you! Smart you!
You can see the Sluka Coffee House is really, really big, and not only tourists were here, but a lot of the locals were here as well. So that's a great sign to know that it's good. So here is the Church of St. Stephen up close in Vienna, Austria. We're going to take a look on the inside. And this is, I believe, a neo-Gothic church. I was told it's from the 12th century, but I'm not sure. Absolutely gorgeous, huh? So here's a model of this particular church. St. Stephen's. Now let's check out the interior to St. Stephen's. And it looks like we're fortunate in that they have a lot of organ music playing, and there might be a little bit of a ceremony. It doesn't look like a mass as well. So we get to sit back and look at the architecture and enjoy the music and check out everything that there is to find here.
distinguish just one person.
Stephan's in Vienna. That is. So after St. Stephen's, we were on our own, separate from the Viking group, and we just started wandering around the city streets to find out, or to see what we could see. So we're down this nice little pathway here with, or roadway with beautiful stores on each side. Yeah. And we came across another church. It seems like you go a block and you run into a church here. And since it's raining, I think that's what we're going to be doing for the afternoon, just hopping from one spot to another and checking out all the churches. This is St. Peter's in Vienna, Austria. So this is St. Peter's in the heart of Vienna. We're inside and they're conducting a wedding, so they asked everybody to leave. Beautiful church, both inside and outside. So we're heading back to the Royal Palace, once the Hofburgs, and this is St. Michael's Gate, the fanciest of them all. like a crown, right?
Yeah, it does. I just can imagine them when they finish, whatever they're doing here. It'll just be a beautiful square, cafes, and I'm just picturing this construction going. Oh, see, here's a picture of what it's going to look like. Oh, what is it? I don't know.
Did I send CC Marcel?
And right at St. Michael's Gate, there is another church, and obviously that is St. Michael's. And we'll take a look at that now. So we headed back to our bus pickup spot, and that was right in front of the art museum. And here they're advertising on the steps that they have a art exhibit of Monet and Picasso paintings. And you can see on the steps, it's all lilies, which is what Monet is famous for painting, these ponds with all these lily pads. So I would love to see that, but unfortunately, we don't have time to see it today. But up the steps is a great place to take another view of the city. The Albertina Square. And I don't know, he's riding a big horse. And the Opera House. So this is the world famous Sacher Torte.
Hello.
And it's the best Sacher Torte in all of Vienna.
Thank you so much.
Is it all packaged up? Can we take a look? Can we look at it?
Yeah, sure.
Whoa! And it's got the nice Sacher Torte. So nothing but Sacher Tortes are sold in this store. That and some tea, I guess. And there's a huge lineup to go up to the cafe and enjoy your Vienna coffee with your Sacher Torte. I believe they call this a monument to fear, but some people say it represents the escape from fascism in Austria. But I guess it's a pretty controversial monument because of what it depicts. It's pretty gross. It shows some soldiers as well somewhere. But they are victims of fear, they say. Well, that's the end of our wet visit to Vienna. We didn't get to do everything we wanted to, but we wandered the city. Unfortunately, we got very wet, but it was still very enjoyable. A great city to visit.